Great. Place that. Alright. How recent was this game as well?
Ready for battle.
It was
Yes.
I think it was yesterday. It said 16 hours ago.
Hmm. Alright. So this should be fairly fresh in your mind about what decisions you make. I guess we'll start off with two things. Okay, actually, where do you play Freya and Vendetta? Is Freya mostly on defense, and then do you just go Vendetta a bit later on? Or how does that swap work?
I The idea was I play like Freya on like long distance maps
Hmm.
or
Okay.
depending on the comp. Well,
How does
I
your hero
played
pool work? Basically.
so it was now it's more like comp based or now map based. I would play Freya on like the long range maps or sometimes if like even on the long range maps if we have like a dive comp or a brawl comp I would go Tracer and Vendetta,
Right.
and that's what I did later on. Like it turned out to be more of like a brawlish like dive-ish, so I went Vendetta there.
Right. Your hero pool, how wide is your hero pool? Because I had Freya, Tracer, Vendetta as well. How far does that extend, basically?
It extends to 4 characters: Tracer, Freya, Vendetta, and sometimes when Vendetta is banned, Sombra.
Right. So here's the little. Maybe I've explained this to you before, like earlier on. But I this is the trick with hero pools is that obviously it makes logical sense to play characters where they're good. Right, Freya's better on long range maps. Vendetta is better. Obviously, you're not gonna probably not want to play Vendetta on like Junkertown or something because you can get plugged out really easily. That's obvious. But what's not so obvious is if you actually want to improve at the game, it is worth playing Vendetta on Junkertown, or it is worth playing Freya on a bad Freya map, like Lijiang Control Center. Maybe she's not even that bad there. But it is worth playing heroes in suboptimal situations because then you'll learn that how to actually play that hero when they're not optimally good, or you're playing into a comp or a map that's not optimal for them. The reason why is that counter swapping, or let's say you play Freya here for example, right, and they play a comp that tries to counter swap you. So maybe they play Lucio Kiri, Tracer Sombra, right? Something like that. That's not amazing for Freya. You can't really deal with Sombra that well. Sombra can shut you down during your updraft as well. It's not amazing. You haven't got any CC. It's not a fun comp to play Freya into, but it's playable if you're good at the game or if you're good enough at the game. And at this level of play, and I would say unless you're like approaching GM or you're at GM or you're high GM, basically, if you're not the top 1% of the players or in the top 1% of the player base, I think it's still worth playing Freya when it's not optimal, and vice versa. It's worth playing Vendetta when he's not optimal, because that's how you're going to learn your character. And that's how you're going to get better at the character, because if you play Freya versus Tracer Sombra, and you beat that Tracer Sombra, that implies you're pretty good at Freya. So it's something that I always tell players is don't widen. Honestly, I would just stick to Freya Vendetta, or just not even Freya Vendetta, stick to characters that you enjoy playing, and I would assume, of course, there's awful characters you enjoy playing to some extent. But I would narrow it down basically, and of course, bans affect that, right? If Vendetta gets banned, then you're probably gonna play Freya Trace or something. But try not to counter swap, or try not to look at the short term value of it, or get affected by what your teammates are playing too much. This game's about how you play the game. It's not about. This game is not about what you play 99% of the time, but 99% of the players. So I usually say that all the time because, again, you can play Vendetta here on defense and still make it work, right? Maybe you want to set up here on Vendetta. It's weird map geometry. Yeah, maybe you want to set up here on Vendetta or in this little room. You control the side area, and anyone that comes there, you just sort of bully them out. You can take this flank. You can punish the choke. You can dash out back to the high ground if you really need to, right? Like there's ways of making this work that you will learn if you put yourself in these situations. But of course, you're not playing Vendetta here, so you wouldn't know necessarily how to play that situation, and that's why it's important to do that. And that's just one example out of many. So a little bit of a spiel there, but something worth for looking at in the long term. If you do feel obliged to swap, or you do feel like, oh, I want to swap, ask yourself why, is what I always say to players. Because I guarantee you, it's not based on what you're playing, it's based on how you're playing, or you need to adjust the playstyle, right? 99% of the time. So that's why it's saying it's fine to swap if you want to win the game, right? Counter swapping works, which is why it's so bad, is that it works for short-term gain and for short-term benefit. But if you're good enough at the game, you can play this character at any... Like, if you were GM on Freya, you wouldn't care what they're playing. You would just play Freya in gold or plat lobbies, and you just roll everyone, because that's how good you would be at the game. And that's sort of the mindset you should have long-term in terms of improving. Despite what your teammates might say in team chat, if they're begging you to swap. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. I guess the main things with Freya are your distance management against Winston, so making sure that you're spacing yourself correctly, not getting jumped on too much. Where or how you're using the map geometry with your updraft. Of course, it's a little bit difficult here because it's fairly open. There's not really much cover for you to be using during your updraft. So and as a result, right, Cass can actually dome you quite easily. Cass is a soft counter to Freya, generally speaking, on most maps because he can punish you really easily during your updraft. So the main thing is making sure that when you're updrafting, it's not entirely out in open space, and it's on an angle where Cass might not be able to see you, right? So maybe Cass is walking through here, and if you updraft early, or if you updraft somewhat where he's getting choked out here, for example, he can't really see you because of his sightlines down here. It's not amazing sightlines if he's choked out in this area. That might be an example where it might be fine to updraft in open space if Cass can't see you. That's an important nuance. Of course, as Micro talks about with you make sure you're hitting your bolts or your bot combos, whatever the case may be. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. And yeah. Alright.
Let's get this done.
Okay. Sure. That's fine. I was just going to say here as well, because you are running a Freya who's heavy spam, and you've got a pocket, might just be worth getting some bolts from spawn just for free ult charge value, because why not? But yeah, nothing great, just micro optimization there. Okay, bubble's been used. Okay. So this is really interesting, right? So this when I talk about game sense to players, and after the crypt, what does game sense actually mean? All game sense is understanding what visual cues in the game mean, and what certain visual elements in the game mean. So in other words, when this Winston pops his bubble, it's not just a Winston popping bubble, right? You need to decode, okay, what does this mean for me? What does Winston using bubble mean for my character? Do I play differently based off of that? And because bubble is a very important cooldown for this guy, you probably should, right? There's also another visual cue. Your right now is swinging in, and he's playing aggressively, right? He's looking to get value on his swing. So what do these two cues of bubble being used and your right pushing in, how does that affect how you should play? What does that mean for you?
I didn't think of that before, but think of it now is that when he puts bubble down, that means he wants to hold that space.
Right.
And for the Reinhardt, he wants to charge in more and like get some damage in.
Right. Does it, when bubble's been used too, does it also mean, like, can this Winston aggress onto you now? Is he as scary?
No, not right now, but maybe later on when he gets his jump back.
Right. So, I mean, we can think of it now, right? If he still, say he saw a jump, right? He probably still has a jump right now, but he used bubble. If you swing this corner and play aggressively, and he jumps you, are you that scared?
Yeah.
Why are you scared of a Winston jumping you with no bubble?
Oh, I would just be afraid that he'll still do damage onto me, so I would walk back.
Right. So this is the thing, right? And this is where sometimes knowledge might be a little bit more important in terms of applying it to your own game, right? Because this Winston, let me tell you right now, if he jumps, if I'm coaching this Winston, and he were to jump you and you were to swing the corner, he would fucking die immediately because you would just two-bolt him immediately, and he should be more scared of you than you are of him, specifically without bubble. So this bubble is a huge visual cue to almost bait the Winston into jumping you. And actually, I tell hit scan players this all the time. You want to play positions where you want to be dove. And it sounds counterintuitive because you're like, oh, why do I want to be dove? That's dangerous, right? But actually, if you think about it, if you swing this corner and he jumps you without bubble, with no armor, he is going to die, right? You're going to shoot him in the face. You're going to do your combo, right? Your bolt plus dash plus bolt, right? That's 220 damage, right? Probably more if you hit him in the head, right? And he's got a fairly big hitbox too, so you'll probably hit him in the head. He'll blow up immediately. And of course, you can spam him in between with your normal bow as well. You'll destroy him Is my point. He's got no armor too, and you've got a pocket as well, and your warrior can still see you. So I would be very shocked if you swung this corner, he jumped you, and he's not the one that dies immediately. So as a result, right, he does not want to jump you, is the first thing. So you should be safe entirely, right? Second thing, if he doesn't jump you, that's still fine, right? Because of course, you swing this corner, if he doesn't jump you, that's great. You get all the space in the world, and you deal 1 billion damage to their entire team, right? So this is the thing, right, is that once this bubble, this is a terrible bubble by the Winston, by the way. Again, I'm not going to coach the Winston here, but this is a terrible bubble, right? But you, as a player, should be looking at this and licking your lips, basically. That this, no matter what you do here, or what he does, you win either way. You swing this corner, and he either jumps you, in which case he dies, or he doesn't jump you, in which case you get free value, right? And that's kind of the thing. Now, your updraft is your second value here, or the second point here is your updraft, right? How might you want to use it here? Well, again, I would probably say to you, micro-wise, you could probably updraft around this corner. Again, my epic fan. But you can updraft vertically, like this, just updraft like somewhere here, vertically. Use this building as your main piece of cover to avoid the Cassidy. And then again, if you do get jumped, or if the cast does swing you, you can double jump, or you can dash, go over the train, and you'll be fine. So, micro-wise, if you do want to use updraft, that's how you would do it. But the main point here that I want to get across, this is all micro, right, with how you use your updraft. The main point is you're not swinging, or you're not paying attention to how valuable this moment in time, i.e. the bubble being used and the Reinhardt swinging in, really is for your character. Because this is the key time to play aggressive, right? And if you think about, okay, when do I want to play aggressive as Freya? Well, it's when the Winston has no bubble, right? Or it's when the Winston can't threaten me. And this would be one of those examples. Because again, he can't jump you. If he does, he'll die. But yeah. And here, we do try and play aggressive here, but it's too little too late, right? Like, my Reinhardt's already walking backwards. He's walking backwards right now with his shield, so we've already missed the opportunity right now, because we weren't looking at what our Reinhardt was doing, and we haven't really got on a good bolt back here, right? We haven't, like, updrafted above the bubble. We could have two-shot the cast, maybe, or got one bolt, and then put the cast away, something like that, right? That could have been quite nice. But you've slightly missed an opportunity there. Okay? And even now, right, this is still an opportunity if you think about it, right? Bubble has just been used, right? Your Reinhardt is inting in, right? So you are playing aggressive here, which is nice to see. You can get some good bolts. Yeah, so if the Winston's not seeing you, so this is micro-based, right? So, how do I say this? Generally, when you're playing hit scans, or most characters in the game, this is a corner, right? And a nice bit of micro is to get off the corner. So when I say get off the corner, what a bad player would do is stay on the corner like this, and they swing it like this. The reason this is so bad is because you haven't got distance, so you're at more danger, right? The Winston can still zap you, right? You can't react to damage coming from this direction as easily, right? It's more dangerous by swinging the corner if you're close to the corner. Getting off the corner means you swing this corner from as wide an angle as you possibly can. So the dotted line I'm drawing right now is how you would do this, right? So you swing the corner like this, basically, but you're off it as much as possible. This gives you more time to react, and more nicely, you can see deeper into the alleyway while still being safer. So this is a generally basic scan fundamental about how you swing corners. Yeah, just generally an important thing. You also, last thing, when you're swinging the corner or you're swinging off the corner, you're still using this cover the entire time, right? This is like your pivot point almost. You're pivoting around this corner while you're swinging it, basically. So you're still using this as cover. You still have cover usage for this, basically. But you're just way safer, right? And if you're playing here compared to playing here, if I'm the Winston, I'm more scared if you're here, right? I can't jump this, right? But if you're playing closer to the corner, I can still tase you as Winston, right? And that was kind of happening here a little bit because you're fairly close to the corner, swinging with your Ryan. But yeah.
If I was playing Vendetta here, would I play the corner?
Yeah,
then?
so like if you're playing Vendetta, that would change. If you're playing Reaper, that would slightly change, right? Vendetta is a bit different. I would probably say I'll talk about using this rim instead. So you're still technically off the corner. You're still playing a different angle here. But because you're playing Vendetta or Reaper, you're playing an angle where you can like threaten that Junkrat, you can throw that Junkrat away, you can fire strikes, you can TP or stay here, you can hide or whatever, right? You can threaten the Junkrat and Winston from this angle here. You can also, again, come over the top and land overhead, so you're a little bit safer. Again, you're still taking some aggro here by playing frontline, but it would slightly change, and you'd be fine playing a little bit closer if you're playing Vendetta or Reaper here, yeah. But there's still ways,
Okay.
the point being is there's still ways of avoiding stacking in your Reinhardt by using weird overheads or playing the little room here. Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, we'll see here. Okay, now I will back up. Okay, good. Might just die there, sadly. There's not really much you can do about Junkrat, because he is playing an area that you don't really want to be playing. There's not really much you can do about the Junkrat. Okay, let's look at our micro here. How many bolts do we get off? We get 1 on the cast. Reload. You missed that 1 on the Winston. He bubbles it off, so not insane. You just missed 1 bolt there, and you maybe could have weaved 1 in before the bubble, but nothing insane in terms of micro. Maybe could have dashed away too and gone on a double bolt into the Winston. Okay. 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 So this is mainly positional. So there's 2 things, right? You're not aware that when he jumps you, or when he jumps over the top, like this. Again, I don't think you realize that he's jumping above you. So again, this is more so a game sense thing. Because he's jumping above the train right now. Again, a more experienced Freya player would be looking above them right now and actually dash out of the jump path. Secondly, where should you retreat to after he jumps you?
The left exit, the left choke.
Like here, basically.
No, further back, like behind the fire truck right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this would be perfectly fine. Here I actually wouldn't mind staying here either. This is again a bit of a weird position, and I'm not gonna get into this too much. But these angles here are what I like to call this stuff here. This is what I like to call aggressive, but safe. In other words, this, we can probably agree, is an aggressive angle, right? You are literally in front of the Winston, or behind him actually. Your Reinhardt's and Mercy's dead too. And you're aggressive because, of course, you're still aggressing on the Winston and anyone that comes through the stroke, right? But if you think about it, you're actually fairly safe. Right now, why are you fairly safe? Well, the Cass is dead, so the main threat that can push you out is dead. Junkrat is probably not one gonna fly onto you. Winston, well, you can still punish him from high ground. He's not a threat to you at all, really. In fact, you get him low, and much to my point earlier about how if you're swung this corner and he jumps you, you can punish the Winston. And right now, you're punishing the Winston. In fact, he's feeding his brains out right now. He should die as a result, to be honest. So we'll talk about the micro in a moment. But Winston, not a threat to you, at least right now. Weaver, not really. Kiriko, not really either. So, if you really think about it, this is actually a safe angle. Now, when would it be dangerous? Well, if you're playing into Sombra, or a Tracer, or a Diva...
That can chase me.
That can chase you, exactly, right? That's when it becomes problematic. So basically, high mobility is a general rule of thumb, right? And again, that chase thing that you literally just said, that's when it becomes more dangerous, right? But you can actually look for these angles in the mid fight, where in mobile comps, so this is generally an immobile comp. Of course, Winston, when he uses jump, is immobile. So again, extra thing to mention there. But against those comps, yeah, you can actually hide in these little cubby holes and be really annoying to push out. And in fact, you can literally walk to their spawn and no one's going to come for you. Of course, be careful of cast on the way back, right? But the point being here is that you're really hard to force out, and you're actually really dangerous, right? Again, this Winston is scared of you, and you can see how much damage you're doing to him, right? Like, I go 0.5 here. You hit the head there. Spam. Right. I would have preferred you to dash immediately, probably, but it's fine regardless. In fact, you could be dashing backwards right now, back into the area you suggested earlier, so you get another bolt in time. But yeah, had you done that, actually, you dash back, you bolt that Winston, and he just dies. Like, he literally just dies, right? Like, that's, again, entirely a positional thing. The fact that we don't dash back into here, where we've got cover, because we've got this little button to play around, and we can see everything, so we can see the Winston, you just get that kill on the Winston. Like, flat out, you know? Just by changing where you go, right? A slight changing in terms of your positioning, or how you path, right? I have 4 general rules of positioning. Cover. So again, I've already talked about that with the corner thing. LOS, or line of sight, so what can you see? Which I just described, right? Third thing is distance. which I haven't described just yet. Distance basically means, again, I kind of described it actually on the corner thing here, you having more distance away from the enemy team. Spacing yourself correctly is really important against dive characters, because it makes it hard for them to reach you, and it makes it more expensive and dangerous for them to reach you. So if you're playing back here, you're creating more distance away from Winston, it's more dangerous for him. And thirdly, or the last rule, sorry, is rotations. Aggressive and defensive rotations, which basically just means angles to flank is aggressive, because that really means, and defensive basically is just retreat paths or escapes. I bundle it all in the word rotation, because rotation just means moving from point A to point B, but this is where this rule becomes important, because we need to be retreating down here, but of course you're not thinking about your retreat path necessarily, so you end up missing out that kill on the Winston, sadly. You're also out in the open here too, and you can't see much, so there's that as well. Okay. Also, not to mention, I'm nitpicking Micro here, but you can dash back while still looking here, you know, like you can still retreat while still looking at the enemy team. So again, a bit of Micro there. You don't have to like look at where you're retreating to. Okay, bubble's been used. Punish that Winston. Fine. Okay. Okay. What? Who just passed on your screen? So we see Winston here, right? We reload back and cover, fine. Who's on your screen right now?
If that's right, I think that's the Junkrat, and that's all I can see. Is that Junkrat? Or is that Lifeweaver?
That's Lifeweaver, right?
That's
So
Lifeweaver.
you should be punishing the Weaver, right? It doesn't really matter who it is. The point is that someone's passing through this choke in open space that you're not punishing right now. And again, this links to the visual cues, right? Where this person is directly out in the open and their eyes or their body isn't turned to you. So in other words, they don't know you're here. So you can punish this player, right? Like, again, you have enough dashes, you've got full cooldowns, full HP here, full ammo, bulk this person, fire, your rapid fire, dash it, or you can dash again. You can do 2 dashes and then rapid fire the Weaver, that's fine. You can do 1 bolt, fire, dash, and then another bolt, right? I don't really care how you do it. The point is, this person's punishable, and you should be punishing this player right now. But we're not doing that. So you miss an opportunity to punish Weaver. Okay? Again, corner thing, right? So, and this is a corner. Get off the corner, right? Imagine we were standing where the camera is right now. Right? That Winston can't come for you, and you just punish the Winston entirely, right? Whereas here, he should be punishing you right now. But look at where you are. Are you out in the open? People could be shooting you right now. This is a lot more dangerous of a position compared to this, right? But it's the exact same thing, where you can still see the exact same targets, i.e. the Winston, and you're way safer because you've got more distance and you can dash back into cover, right? This is entirely out in the open, and you should be getting punished for this, actually. Yeah, but you don't. Oh, you do get punished for it, like Cassidy. There you go, right? But that wouldn't happen to you if you were over here, right? So this is why getting off the corner is really important. But yeah. Okay. We'll see next fight. Bolo. Okay. Alright. I don't mind this. This is good. Nice. Good attack priority. Yeah, that was quite nice, right? Like, this was decent. We see Winston. We jump up because, again, no one's looking at us right now. We've got this decent cover to play around, which is nice. And we have good target priority. We go for the cats, right, which is nice. Missing the second bolt there, I don't really care about, but that's your character in terms of like how what the character's built for. It's getting value when your tanks are trading and making sure you're safe while you're getting that value. Yeah, that's all decent though. Dashing back makes sense, obviously. You don't wanna stagger or feed. Sure, as much like Winston. Do be careful. So, right, I will say this. When Winston jumps you, do be very careful that his team, i.e. the Cass, could and actually should, he's making the same mistake as you did in the first fight, this guy should be swinging aggressively while the Winston is going in. And he should be doming you. Like, imagine the castle's here right now, right? Like, he should be doming you when you're out in an open space. So do be careful of this happening, right? Of course, this cast is not very good at the game. No one is good at the game here. But he should be swinging you right now and doming you. So do be careful about using updraft here. Or dashing excessively. Okay. Yeah, like, this is very dangerous, as you can see, right? Like, kind of dangerous.
Yeah, I think I get punished for it.
Is he, there's no way. Okay, is he jumping you with a bubble? What is he doing? Okay, that's risky, low-key. He's not jumping. He hasn't got a bubble in time. But again, you should still punish this guy or still punish again. He's fairly easy to punish. That was a terrible bubble. Yeah, and now, ideally, right, you would have updraft, right? If you didn't waste it, you would updraft back. Again, this Winston had a terrible jump, right? Don't know what the hell he was doing. But, terrible jump, you just punish him, right? And now you updraft back, and now you can push in, because, obviously, he's dead. So, you should be able to push this fairly aggressively. A bit of a dominoes effect from wasting updraft there. Okay. Don't go in, again, be very careful against Cassidy here. You can still shoot. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this is not so fine. So again, you can still peek this, right? And you can still like shoot, just spam, right? Just spam your normal gun. You can get some bolts in too. You can do the normal interweaving thing, right? And then once your hog eventually gets involved, so once your hog is like going in, once your Reaper TPs, then we can updraft, use this big ass, whatever this is called, sign, we'll say, and this piece of cover here too, and then we can get value, right? And then we can aggress into targets that are going to be moving back into this sort of open space here, right? So again, that's the general rhythm of how we're using our kit.
Okay, so I just spam, but even when the pre-fight hasn't, like when the pre-fight is just starting, then when my team goes in,
yeah, then
when
your team goes in, right, your amount of aggression is linked to how aggressive the rest of your front line. So when I say front line, I'm referring to your hog and your Reaper. Front line is basically, when I say front line, I'm referring to your tank plus your most mobile DPS, which is often your flex DPS. So that'll be your Genji, or your Tracer, or your Reaper, or your Venture, or your Vendetta, right? Something like that. But your front line will go in. Once your front line goes in, who are they going to be looking at once your front line goes in? These guys.
They'll be looking at the front line.
Yes, they'll be looking at your hog / your Reaper or your front line in general, right? That allows you to play more aggressive, right? So that allows you to pop your cooldowns. Your updraft, you can updraft and swing this corner quite nicely. Again, you can use the cover here quite nicely, right? But in the pre-fight, while you're just waiting for things, yeah, just play slow, just play passive, right? You don't need to be using all your cooldowns that early, right? But that also doesn't mean that you shouldn't be spamming here, right? Just spam, right? Like, play back this corner, just play really slow. Just play really passive, really slow. Just spam the cast, right? Play the cover here, play the cover here, play the cover here a little bit, play the cover here. Just chillax, play slow, right? If you get shot a little bit, that's fine. You can get healed up by your brig. You'll be okay. And you're playing really far anyway, so you shouldn't take that much damage regardless, right? And actually, in terms of distance and range, like, Cass is more scared of you than you are of him in terms of the range dynamic, because you outrange the Cass. You should be fine here regardless. But yeah, just a little bit of optimization there, because again, you don't have to like hide here the entire time. But yeah, I think your timing here is also a little bit off here, right? Because now we're peaking really, we're really playing aggressive here right now, right? We're walking forward, we're out in open space, the Cass is looking at us, right? But it's mistimed because we're going in just a little bit before our Reaper gets involved, right? Before our Reaper drops off and does something. So we're going in a little bit too early here. And as a result, the Cass is looking at us, not the Reaper, right? Which is the issue. Okay, and as a result, we updraft in open space, right? And the Cass is looking at us the entire time. The bowler's good. I actually like the bowler, right? Again, maybe mechanics you could have aimed at the Cass a little bit, right? Fine. You could have forced out his roll first, then you bowler him. You can force out roll by shooting the Cass normally with your cooldowns, then bowler him, and then you get that kill, right? So my career there with bowler. In terms of why you use it, I'm fine with why you use the bowler here. Target quality is fine, right? But the timing of it is what's a little bit bothersome. Because you can see you get down to 85 HP, right? The Cass should have killed you. Because he was looking at you the entire time. And again, we can be using this cover, like this area here, right? when we're aggressing. Okay,
Not bad. What's next?
see here. For some reason, there's a junk right there. Hog kills him out, which is nice. We'll see this fight. Okay. 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 Now this is kind of awkward, right? Because the rest of your team are playing really close, but these are sidelines that you don't necessarily want to play. So what are some positions on this map here that you might want to think about playing, considering how far your team switched up?
Behind, okay, maybe near the Reaper, I would just sit there and just spam, or behind the point.
Yeah, maybe here's fine. Yeah, maybe here is okay too, right? Somewhere in this vicinity could be fine. Maybe here's fine as well, because you've got some high ground to use. You're hard to reach. You can still see everyone, right? The only issue with this angle is not really a good retreat path. Like, you have to come over here, which is a bit risky, and you can get cleared out fairly easily. So it's not immediately obvious where you want to play, right? I think here, where you're playing is okay, but just be ready to move back to high ground here is kind of the main thing. Here's a little bit too exposed. You just haven't got enough cover to use. Here is honestly another angle you can play. Again, the issue is that you can't really retreat easily. You can't like dash away that easily because it's an entirely open space. So it's scuffed wherever you play. I'm not gonna lie. I think here's kind of fine, but it's worth thinking about where you might want to play. Like if you got Boda, for example, maybe it's worth playing here because then you can punish anyone that walks up to you. Or here, because again, if the Winston jumps you, you can Boda him and you can destroy him, whatever the case may be. So you can be a little bit cheeky with how you play, especially if you've got Bola. But the point I want to get across here is get ready to go back to high grounds and don't tunnel on the Winston. Look at these guys too.
Okay.
Like these characters as well. It's kind of the main thing. But yeah. Good. Fine. Timing's fine there. Okay, more calls. But yeah, this is kind of the thing, right? After your Winston, after your hog dies, I need to be moving back. Like after, you can see how much aggression he's taking here, right? But your tank is dead now. Like now we're moving back, which is good. But we need to be moving in this direction to the right. Because otherwise we're gonna get punished. As we kind of do. We're gonna stay here in no man's land and get pushed in. And now we should die actually, but they're casting us shots. So we get a little bit lucky there. But yeah. And now again we can actually aggress a little bit. Be careful, nice, dash away. Good, fine. Sure. Nice. Dash, dash. Fine. Okay. Punch that Winston. Okay, bubble. Fine. Sure. Okay, that's a really risky jump. Fine. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Dash, 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 dash. A little bit of a late dash there. Yeah, so it's a bit of micro that we can work on here. Honestly, your team are gonna lose this fight regardless, but this is fine. The missing that bolt is not ideal. Fine. Going for Kiri is okay. Now I would start backing up. Immediately dash away is good. Fine. I will try and dash back into here, so because the Kiri's shooting you instead, right? If you dash back into here, you LOS up the Kiri, so you avoid taking damage from Kiri, and you're still getting killed by Moira. So a little bit of micro there. And you can even dash into here and get the Mega 2, and then punish the Winston really, really hard. Again, Winston, you can blow up a Winston really easily, because he's Winston. And you're doing some damage to him. Missing a bolt there. There's some missed bolts and a slight weird retreat path, so again, a retreat path is a bit out in the open. Could have gone here, got a Mega, and LOS to Kiri. Barring that, relatively fine. Okay, we'll look at your Vendetta. Do you play Vendetta? I don't think you play the Vendetta on defense. It's on attack.
I think it's like the next round.
Yeah. After your bowler.
Yeah, somewhere in between
Yeah,
here.
there we go,
Where
yeah.
we got very confident.
Alright. We'll see here. Okay. Okay. So, I don't wanna. I'll talk about like fundamentals of the Vendetta in a moment. I just wanna see how you miss this overhead. Yeah, so maybe I don't know what your sense is, but like you should be swinging around a lot more. Like on melee characters, generally, it's fine to have much higher senses. Like Ryan, I know most Ryan players have a really high sense because you don't need to be necessarily accurate the entire time. Like landing the swings and making sure you're getting all the swings in is really important. Because again, you don't need to be the most accurate thing in the world if you're playing a melee character. The speed's more important. But when you play Vendetta, what are your main win conditions? What are you looking to do?
Find targets that are isolated.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, right? I'm thinking this elo, you'll definitely find that. I guess the main thing is finding a way more generally to connect onto these targets as safely as you can, and try and brawl them as safely as you can. And again, I actually made a Vendetta video that was really long. That went over some of the fundamentals. Like pathing is really important. Your soft engaging is really important too, making sure that you're not inting on your first engage, right? That Malgo is sort of inted. So we'll see how you reach these targets, because this is a really good comp to play Vendetta into. Okay. Don't know why. So why are we blocking here?
I think it's because I was blocking because I saw, like, I thought that pylon was a third person, so I was blocking to not take a
Right.
lot of damage, and I had a lot of visual aggro.
Right. So you're taking some visual aggro here, but I guess the main thing is both tanks are dead right now. What are some options in terms of your playstyles? What can you do basically here? Where can you move?
I can use, I could go to the left, or I can use my E and jump on the Hanzo.
Yeah, so there's a few things we can do, right? So we could use our E and then dive the Hanzo, and then maybe we can dash out here with our spear spin or whirlwind dash and get the mega. That's fine. Or we can play a little bit slower, right? We can maybe path around like this. We can use our whirlwind dash to get around the map and path around like this and try and find a way to reach these guys safely. We could also use we could dash into this room, right? Same kind of idea. We control this area. We're sort of taking the space around the Hanzo. We force the Hanzo to back up and we get some space, right? So the main thing, the main commonality with every option I described, so this, and this, is you're soft engaging, or you're playing for space, right? Either way, either one that you do, you're forcing this guy to back the fuck up. Either one that you do, right? And that's the main takeaway here. So I don't care how you do it. I just care that you do it in a safe way. And you force this guy to dash away, basically. So here, we should be soft engaging. Or staging. There's another word of saying it too. Okay, they just give the space for you. Fine. Okay. Okay, fine. He's not looking at you. Sure. I don't know why he's not looking at you. God almighty.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Yeah, because you should. I was like, when he pops visor here, we'll talk about your E in a moment. But when he pops visor, I'm like, yo, we need to leave immediately. I'm saying, dash here, use your dash right now, get back to the high ground, play slow, and leave immediately. You can even use your hop. You can use your the hop from your sword to get on the high ground too, and then you're controlling the space, right? Again, when we talk about aggressive but safe, this is aggressive, right? Very aggressive because you can punish people below you, but it's also pretty darn safe because no one can actually reach you up here, right? So Vendetta really likes these aggressive but safe spaces. So do flankers too. But in other words, we should be dashing here or hopping here, right, with our sword, or dashing here, the whirlwind dash, or something like that. But this is gold, so I'm not too surprised he just doesn't look at you. And even when we go onto him, right, he should be looking at you. I don't know why he's not looking at you. And we should be blocking, right? We should be blocking a little bit of the aggro. We can dash him into the wall and then finish him off, right? But yeah, I'm surprised that he just doesn't look at you. And then it's too late, so we'll take it, I suppose. Right, yeah, okay. So our dash there's not great, right? So admittedly, Hands not looking at you, so you're not taking that much visual aggro. But you need to get ready to move here, basically, right? So block, fine. I would even dash over here. I think there's a mini here, right? I would dash actually over here, get the mini, block, continue to block, right? So another really important tip with the Vendetta is when you're blocking, I didn't mention this in the video, but when you're blocking, you're not actually doing anything mechanical, right? Like, you're not slashing, you're not doing anything. So use that time when you're blocking to think about where you want to move, right? Because you're not you're not worried about your combos, you're not worried about hitting people, right? You're assessing what's on your screen, you're processing the visual aggro you're taking on your screen. So use that downtime to think about, okay, I'm getting shot, where I need to move somewhere, right? That's where your mind should be going. Not, oh, I'm panicking, I'm getting shot, I'm gonna dash back main, right? Because here, you're out in the open space regardless, and there's a mini here, right? There's at least a mini pack over here, right, that you can use. So again, really important idea that even though in theory, this is a more aggressive defensive escape path, right? Even though this, in theory, this is more aggressive, it's actually safer, right, than going back main here. This is more passive, right, but it's actually more dangerous. So again, it's a really key mindset thing that just because you're playing more aggressively on Vendetta doesn't always mean that you're playing more dangerously, and that's an important idea. Okay, sure. Okay, fine. I will just say one thing with pathing, right? You can, again, from here, again, you're blocking, right? What's some pathing options you can do once you get your HP back? What are some options you can have?
Use cover and look for a flank.
I like the sound of that. Where can we flank?
On the left.
Yes, right. So we can maybe use our sword to get to here, right? Again, you don't have to like hard engage this. You've already won the fight basically, right? But we could use our soaring slice, get to over here, and then we could use our fire strikes. You can fire strike some targets here and tease them basically, right? And then once we get our soaring slice back, then we can throw in our sword again, and then again, I mentioned this in the video, right, about sword placement. If we're over, when it's on overlay, so we flank from here, right, with our slice, get to here, and then we can adjust our playstyles, right? Maybe the Orisa spear spins onto us, and then we back up the point. That's fine. Again, I mentioned in the video, learning to not fight someone is really important. You don't want to fight an Orisa head on.
Yeah.
So that's one of the aspects there, right? But also, again, you can choose your playstyle almost, right? If these guys, the Kiri and the Hanzo, are backing up because they've just lost first point, which is reasonable, you can throw a sword somewhere here in the middle, and that gives us options, right? So the first option it gives us is we can control this space here, right? Maybe we don't want to dive a Kiri and a Hanzo. That would be reasonable. They can burn us really quickly, right? Maybe though we do, and maybe we wanna get that overhead in, right? Maybe you wanna get that big slash and then dash them into our team. That's another option that we can do. Maybe we could even do the overhead slash and then dash back to this corner here too, right? So the point again being, I mentioned this in the video, but you can throw your sword in places that give you options, and this would be a great example of it, right? But again, we're not taking this flank seemingly to begin with, right? That sword placement idea is more of an advanced thing, but getting to this flank is the important idea that we're not commonly doing right now. You could also, that's not just that's one of the options here, right? That we can sword over here. Where could you also sword to?
Maybe to the back line?
Yeah, maybe, right? So maybe you can like actually sword here and then get it overhead on the Hanzo, right? What tells us visually that we could actually go a little bit hard here or go in a bit aggressively here? What tells us that we're able to do that?
Because our brig is with us right now and she's playing aggressively.
Yes, right? Who wins? A Vendetta brig at this range, with the Valley, mind you, or a Kiri Hanzo at this range, right? You know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, you can go on for the Hanzo immediately, right? Rally should help you out too. If you want to be a little bit more, I'm not gonna bit more nitpicky with the micro. Throw it behind the Hanzo so it's hard for him to escape, and then you can get the overhead, right? You can also sword above the Hanzo like this, right? And then you can. I didn't mention this in the video specifically, but when you're swording above, it's really hard to be cleared, right? Like it's almost like your ultimate where you can ult from this angle, and it's really hard for the Hanzo to clear you. Again, throwing back to that aggressive or safe idea too. So yeah. Okay, we'll see what you end up doing here. Okay. Okay, sure. Fine, you can ball over to here. With your brig, that's fine. Okay. Soldier dies. Again, I'd be playing above it. I'd sword above for staging reason. Like imagine we were here right now. Imagine. We can perform our combo before we drop, right? So we could do slash, then drop, get a big overhead onto that soldier, and then we can maybe continue our combo, right? We could use our wall and dash, push him into the corner, and then block, and then sword out, or we could get the big overhead, sword in, so slash, get a big overhead, right? use our soaring slice, continue to get the damage from the overhead, block, and then dash out with our 1-1 dash, and that could be a nice soft engage, right? So again, there's a bunch of micro that you can do to optimize what you're doing here. Because again, if we were here, really hard to clear us, and we get a really nice engage onto the soldier and Kiri. And the first thing I mentioned to you about Vendetta is what is our goal with this character, right? It's connecting or reaching these characters when we're full HP, or reaching these characters as safely as possible. And I don't think there's a much safer option, right, than standing up here, because we can reach these characters and they wouldn't even know what hit them, right? They probably wouldn't even know they were playing this high ground above them, right? So again, that's a really important pathing option, because if I'm the soldier, right, I've got no idea. Even if I know that you're on high ground here, I can't push this, right? Because you can sword me, and that's really scary for me, right? If I'm playing soldier. But again, because we're on point, we haven't really got that pathing option. Now we sword away, right? Which is not great, because now what does this mean for the soldier and Alari? If we've sorted away, what can they do?
They can push up more.
Exactly, right? And is this kind of the range that we want to be playing into soldier and Alari?
No.
No, not really, right? So again, I can maybe even have it from a third person POV to sort of show this. Go 0.5. So Rissa walks on point, right? When Rissa walks on point, we drop down, we go at the soldier, right? And then maybe the soldier looks at us, right? And then we can dash out, and maybe we dash back to here, right? And then after we dash out, maybe we can just roll the Orisa instead, something like that, right? But in other words, we're not zoning or threatening or killing even the soldier and Alari. We're giving them a ton of space to work with. And if you lose this point here, it's probably because of that mistake. Okay, you can punish Kiri, she's a bit dumb. Sure. Alari's a bit dumb too, yeah, she's point, fine. Okay. But yeah, like, the amount of space that you're giving these guys is a little bit insane. And actually, it partially caused your Hawk to die. The only kills that you've gotten have been from their backline, who for some reason walked on point, right? And then died as a result. Okay, but that should be first point up for me. But the real, I guess, key ideas there are making sure that we're playing those aggressive but safe spaces, and making sure that we're zoning the backline fairly safely, and we're using our cooldowns in accordance with that too, right? Again, we can micro-optimize it by firing our combo early, and then getting the big overheads, and then also making sure that, again, we're doing our slice in dash out combo is kind of the main thing. But yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Right. Okay. Alright. Waiting. Fine. Okay. Fine. Yeah, that soldier's just dumb as hell. Play him. Fine. Again, I would be cautious about... Again, I'm fine with you going soldier, this is fine, right? Just be cautious of Helix, because that's the big thing you want to be blocking. So try and read the Helix. By doing that, you can just fire 2 slices or fire 2 slashes, and then if you're doing the big overhead, he probably wants to Helix you, so you can trade that damage. You can cancel your big overhead with the or interweave the block with the big overhead. So he should be Helixing you right now because you're about to do the overhead. You can block it and then block the Helix and then continue to do the big overhead anyways. So again, do watch out for the Helix. I don't know why he doesn't Helix you here. I don't know. After the overhead too, I'll dash him to the corner because he's really low. So dash him to the corner and then finish him off really quickly. Okay. Now, the big $1 million question, right? After we kill Soldier, where do we go?
After looking at it now, I think I should have deepened the angle I was just at right now. Maybe to the right.
I agree. Right, so I'll flank through here, flank through here, flank through here, and look at who we can reach. Right? So again, this is entirely a pathing thing, right? About where we go. So I guess the question is, why not go here? And flank and reach the back line.
Yeah, I think it was my mindset was to help my team out, get like the pressure off, like from off my team with the Orisa since I can brawl.
Right, and I think that's the really important thing, right? If you want to get pressure off your team, what does that? What option does more pressure relieving? We can call that pressure relieving, right? What does more pressure relieving? You zoning the entire backline, or rolling an Orisa and giving their backline tons of space? Which one relieves more pressure off your team?
Backline since they'll
Yes.
be distracted of me.
Exactly, right? It's numerically, you're distracting three different people at once. So, yeah, obviously, by going backline, you're going to be doing more, right? Now, again, we can get more advanced, right? Of course, the game's not going to be as simple as, oh, I'm just going to flank here, guys, and no one's going to meet me, no one's going to match me. I'm just going to flank over here and reach the backline easily, right? Again, in gold, it's going to work, I'm not going to lie. Like, in gold, you can literally just walk here and reach their backline, right? But if they're smart, they'll see or they'll send someone to go and match you. In other words, they'll stop and prevent you from flanking like this, right? Now, there's two things to mention with that. And again, this is going to get a bit more advanced here, right? But if they send someone to match you, you've got two options. Either duel them, in which case, if you can beat them in a duel, by all means, fight them off, right? And you should be able to do that because this is an enclosed space. You can get a nice whirlwind dash. You can get off your combo quite easily, right? That's the important thing. Is that you should be able to fight them off here. If they send two people to come at you, play slow. Do not fight it. And again, this is the more advanced thing I mentioned in my video. Where if they send multiple people to try and clear you, so my Vendetta video, it was the Sigma that wanted to really clear the Vendetta a lot, as well as their Sojourn. If they send two people to clear you, you're already doing a lot of the zoning, right? Think about it. If they send like a Kiri and a Hanzo to 2v1 you, automatically that's so much less pressure from or going onto your team, right? So you're already doing your job by forcing them to send two people to try and clear you, right? So then your job is living, right? So if they send two people to clear you, live, block, dash away. You've done your job, right? That's the really important thing to understand. If they do actually want to try and clear you out, but again in gold, you shouldn't worry about that. The main thing, the big fish, is taking the flank to begin with. That's the big takeaway. But yeah, worth mentioning because again, you might not know what to do in case you do get matched if they do want to fight you off there. And you can see the issue with this pathing, right? What's the issue with this pathing?
They can already see me, so they're already like I lost the element of surprise
Exactly.
onto them.
Exactly, right? You can even see that by your HP pool, right? You're 189, so you're already taking damage to begin with. It's extremely telegraphed. So this person, if he's good at the game, is going to lunge away. This person is going to TP away. This person's going to outburst away, right? Because it's so telegraphed, right? That it can all see you. So this is a pathing issue, right? Again, not to beat a dead horse, right? But that would have been solved had you gone right side. Because they can't see you, obviously. The decent zoning there. Good cover usage there, admittedly, right? So you do make up for it by not committing and using the cover from the high ground here nicely. So that was a good job there. Sure, nice. We're not insane. Nice. Waiting for a slice again. Sure. Ooh. We'll talk about the ultimate in a moment. I liked slicing again, right? We got full block basically. Full HP again. I would probably slice like from up here up into the building, something like this. Try and get a big overhead, and then block into this room, for example, right? So you can think about your cycle or your pathing when you're doing your cycle. So again, you can slice, big overhead, dash back into the room, or block back into the room. Either one's fine. That could work quite nicely as a nice soft engage. What I want to see here, though, or talk about, is what makes you of this, and what do you think about this ultimate from a principle standpoint?
It's kind of dangerous because now I'm pretty much just like static.
Right.
I guess my mindset was I thought I was playing Freya for a moment, so since they were grouped up, I could like get my ultimate on them and get a lot of huge chunk of damage on them.
Right. Do you think? What do you think about this ultimate? What do you think is might be slightly problematic about this ultimate?
I'm in the I'm in the open.
Yeah.
I don't have any cover.
Yeah, that's my main issue. That you're entirely out in the open, and again, if they're good at the game, Kiri, Hanzo, and Eloy should be burning you down as much as they possibly can, which is a big issue here. So yeah, I'm surprised you're gonna get 2 kills or something like that, or gets blocked off, right? You could have gotten a kill there, right? But from principle, that's not an amazing Vendetta ult. Mainly because again, you were just out in open space, to be honest. I think the timing of it was fine, but yeah. And actually, one thing you can do, right? I mentioned this in the video too. If you pop Vendetta ult between their tank and their backline, these guys, what are they going to do when they hear your Vendetta ult or when they see you in the air? Of course they're going to shoot you, right? But how are they going to position?
They're gonna play in their cover.
Yeah, they're going to play in their cover. They're probably going to back the fuck up, right? While still shooting you. So, if they back up, what you can do is punish the tank instead, right? Like, there was an example in my Vendetta video of Rocket zoning the backline with his Vendetta ult, and he just turns around and Vendetta ults the tank, or tries to Vendetta ult the tank. And you can punish the tank instead here, right? So, do be aware that you can, if the backline's not reachable, I can't reach the backline, they're too far away, right? Or they're playing in cover, that's fine, right? You're zoning the backline, right? So what you can do instead, just turn around and punish the tank instead, right? So do keep that in mind, as well. So you could just slam the tank instead. Okay. We'll see here. Fucking good. Fine. I don't mind you playing a little bit slower here. I don't know why you're using your Stormbow there, but fair enough. Good kill, sure. Nice. Okay. Where can you set up for this last bit of this attack here?
On the left here, where the health pack is.
Yeah, that'll be great. That's literally the perfect position to play, right? So, why play here?
So that I can deepen the angle,
Right,
or
so,
if they're fast enough, if they pass me, I could get onto the backline safely.
right, so this is really good, right? Again, I brought it up at the end of the Vendetta video about making sure that you're backing correctly and you've got good spacing. If you play too close, like this, you play too close at the beginning of a fight, they can clear you, right? And if they clear you, you either die, worst case scenario, or you get forced out, best case scenario. Either one's not great, right? But if you play with a little bit of distance, right, they can't really clear you from here, right? The Hanzo, the Reaper, the Kiri, the Ilari, they're just too far to be able to clear you safely. So this is why this position is so good, is that it's hard for them to clear you. But again, it also gives you options, right? As you just said, you can deepen the angle by punishing this, or this later into the fight. You can back up to the high ground here if you need to. You can control this area of the map if the Reaper TPs onto you, and you can brawl on cart. Once the cart gets around again, once they get back to spawn, the cart will be here somewhere. You can brawl on cart too, right? It gives you options. So this is the Vendetta place to play, and actually not just Vendetta, mind you. If you're playing like a Venture, I'd say the exact same thing. But I'm glad you identified this, because again, it was really important that when you go in, this is like, again, more high level stuff, right? I wouldn't be expecting even Master Vendetta players or even GM Vendetta players to play here all the time, right? Some might, but this, if you manage to do this, or actually play positions at the beginning of fights, where it's really hard to clear you, next time you're in Midtown, this would be a really nice place to play. Again, it might depend where the cart is, right, and where things pan out, but generally, like here right now, when you know the fight's they're gonna get another touch here, right? This would be the best place to play for sure. But we'll see what happens. Okay, right, and again, had you played here, right? This Reaper's he's doing the mistake, right? He's playing a position where it's easy for him to be cleared, right? If you're playing over here and you see this Reaper TP, you just slice onto him and you punish him, right? Because he's being a bit dumb, right? Obviously from here you can do it on cart too, right? But yeah, this is good. Again, you're doing the correct playstyle thing here. He's making the mistake of he's engaging too early. Clear him out. Nice. You just get the kill anyway. Sure. Fine. And now, where can you go? You got options, right?
Yeah, I could go from the right and get the health pack.
Like you're missing a little bit of HP here, so that's fair. Come over here, get the health pack. You want that? Slice into anyone that's close to you. Hunter's playing a bit far away, so he's probably not worth slicing onto. You can probably go for Ilari, right? Something like that. But your pathing would be good. Your timing would be good too. Yeah, I'm gonna complain about that. We'll see what you do.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. This is okay. Again, I'll care the visual aggro, right? So, again, micro-wise, you might want to slice above here, and then you got a little bit more time to play with. And again, the part of things are a bit less telegraphed, but that's micro. Again, the Hanzo Man is currently Stormbowing you, right? Yeah, he's activated his Stormbow. And because he's gold, he misses pretty much everything. Yes, right? But of course, if that's a better Hanzo, you need to be blocking early, right? Again, I mentioned it in my Vendetta video. Literally, the second that you land that overhead, I'll block immediately, right? So overhead, block. Don't do this. Don't do these dashes. Don't do them. Do not do them. You will die. Again, you don't die because you're in gold, right? But again, these slashes, do not do them. Just block. A bit of block there at the end.
Do I do the slashes when they're not looking at me?
Yeah, exactly, right? So if this Hanzo, for example, is still looking... Yeah, I think a soldier was here a bit earlier, right? But if he's looking at a soldier, then you can do the slashes, right? But get ready to do the blocks for sure. If you want to be safe, not sorry, then you can just block it after the overhead. But yeah, really important against Cass, against Soldier, and against Hanzo. Against Soldier, you land the overhead, you block, and then you can continue to slash based on the aggro that you see. Whirlwind Dash is a little bit... I'm not a fan of it, because again, you haven't... It's your main escape. It's your main escape tool. So I'm not a huge fan of it. Might have been better to keep it. Sure. Nice. Yeah, you can go on that. Alive for sure. Fine. You can probably chase that kill. Yeah, you can chase it. You're up to. I would... Yeah, overhead, then I would sort... You can sort the floor, and then get another overhead. Or you can force outburst, as you do. And then now you chase it with the soaring slice, so now you could chase it and get that kill. But overall, not terrible there. Like again, you punished the Reaper there. That was fine, right? But again, I think they're not playing that well at the game. I think that's kind of the main takeaway there. You do the correct things, and clearly, when I've asked you what to do, you know, again, the applications of it. I think for you, it's mainly applying that in the game and having time to think about what you want to be doing on the character. But yeah, we'll do a quick summary here. We'll use this wall here, a bit darker. First thing, we'll say aggressive but safe, mainly because it applies to both Freya and Vendetta. Right, especially into mobile comps. Mobile comps, right, really important on Vendetta. Where you can like zone a lot of spaces. Second thing I'll say is pathing on Vendetta. Again, second point attack, not flanking, and doing something that's very telegraphed. And first point even, you can path to the left side after the Malga died, and then you can sit above point. And third thing, we'll say micro on both Freya and Vendetta. So for Vendetta, visual aggro. I just mentioned it there with the block, as well as slice, engage, dash out, combo idea, and then again you can like refire your combo before corner. Freya micro, mainly paying attention to the aggro the tanks are trading. So again, the bubble, when I say that, I'm referring to the bubble by the Winston and the Urana pushing in, but in first fight. Getting off corners, having escapes, and updraft with cover. A lot of stuff there, micro-wise, with Freya. I think, honestly, again, if you have more time to think about how aggressive you're playing, the micro will follow the macro, is why I often say. So in other words, if you're timing your pressure well with your tank, or you're timing your pressure well based on, again, the aggro that you see. So again, if Winston's got no bubble, you shouldn't be scared to swing, or you shouldn't be scared to play aggressive, right? Your cooldowns should be better when you time your pressure alongside that. So in other words, right, in this fight here, for example, on second point defense, where your Hog was walking forward and your Reaper TP'd in, if you're thinking about your timing, right, your micro would be better to follow afterwards, right? You'd probably be more likely to use this sort of area for cover when you're updrafting. But yeah, those are the 3 key points. Any questions, queries, things like that?
Yeah. For the zoning part, does that mean you keep your distance from the enemies, or you distance the enemies away from their team?
Yeah, so all zoning means is you're drawing attention from 2 or 3 targets, generally speaking. It could be more, it could be less, it could even be 1 target, right? But you're just drawing attention. You're not intending to get kills. So zoning, it's both. It's to answer your question, it's kind of both, right? So if we go back to this example here, I think it was what? Enzo, Kiri, and Lori, right? If they back up because of your pressure, that's zoning. If they don't back up and they're looking at you, that's zoning, right? Either way, what you're doing is causing them to pay attention to you. Either way, if they back up or not, if they look at you is the important thing. If they respond to you, that's kind of the important thing, right? With zoning, zoning is, you did actually quite well. Like even though your engage was telegraphed, right? You were zoning because you were playing slow. You were drawing the attention from Hanzo and Kiri and Aloy. You played the cover quite nicely, right? You didn't hard engage there, right? And that was the correct thing to do, because you would have just blown up there as a result, right? You were just zoning them for a decent amount of time, right? So that's kind of the point there, right? Same thing here. Right, if I mentioned the idea here too, right? If you're flanking and 2 people are gonna come to mark you out, you're still zoning them, right? You're drawing 2 people away from their team, so you're zoning 2 people away from their team, right? And then again, you just make sure you have to be safe, right? Because again, you should lose a 2v1. So dash away, use a block correctly, that kind of thing, right? But that would also count as zoning too, right? The main thing with zoning is that you're drawing attention, and you're ideally doing it where it's more than 1 person. And again, in that case, it was 2 people. In this case, there's 3 people here, right? But yeah. Any other questions or queries?
Yeah. For the aggro and safe idea, is do I play aggro and safe in the mid fight? Like, how do I know when it's the mid fight, when people are dying and cooldowns are used, or for how long the fight has been going on?
Yeah, more so it's a bit of both, right? Because if the fight's going on for long, it's likely that cooldowns have been used, right? Or things that people are dying, cooldowns have been used later into a fight. It's more so an intuitive positional thing, and that's not very helpful for me to say. But for example, right, like that Freya thing, when you were here, right, and the Winston jumps you over the top, right? This would still be, it's more so a description of how certain positions are relative to you, right? So this would count as aggressive but safe. It doesn't really matter. Well, it is contextual based on when the fight is, right? The reason this is aggressive but safe is because you're playing at a moment in a fight where no one can clear you from the side ground, right? He just used jump, right? This wouldn't be aggressive but safe. This wouldn't be aggressive but safe if the Winston still had his jump and his bubble, right? Likewise, again, the reason why this is aggressive but safe is because of the character that you're playing. You're playing Vendetta, right? No one, if a Reaper TP is up to you, you just fight him and you clear him because you're Vendetta, right? That's the nature of your character. You can fight a Reaper. If you're playing Freya, though, up on top of here, I wouldn't say this is as safe into like again, if they're playing Reaper and they TP up to you, right? Because you can get cleared out quite easily. And their mobility isn't as much as Vendetta, right? And with Vendetta, you can fly across the entire map, right? You can leave here if you need to. On Freya, not so much, right? So it depends on the character. It depends on their cooldowns, right? Again, if the Winston had jump and bubble, this wouldn't be aggressive but safe anymore. But precisely because he used jump and bubble, he's very punishable, right? So again, because of that, you should be able to play here. So again, it's relative to cooldowns, the character that you're playing, the comp to when it's in a fight, right? That kind of thing. But yeah. Anything else?
No, that was all the questions I had. That made a lot of sense.
No worries.
This is yeah, this was what I was thinking
Mm, mm.
during the game.
Right. No worries. No worries. Well, if you do think of anything,